And here we go. Good evening, everyone. This is lecture number 8 in refraction. Today we are going to finish prisms once and for all. And we will probably start with your refraction through curved surfaces. Now, before going on to prism, let us quickly go through what we had done in the previous class. In the previous class, we had seen the two terms that were that are going to be used in this class. The first term was known as, do you remember this first term? What is the first term?
Mean deviation.
Mean deviation. It is a deviation of the mean light or the deviation of yellow light. It is mu y minus 1 times a. If mu y is not given, you use mu v plus mu red by 2. Everyone understands this?
Yes, sir.
Then the second term was angular dispersion. An angular dispersion was the angle between the violet ray and the red ray, delta v minus delta r, mu v minus mu r times a. Then we had also seen dispersive power, which is written as omega, and that is angular dispersion divided by mean deviation. And then we had seen the two types of combination that's just showed to you. The two combination where you have dispersion without deviation and you had deviation without dispersion. Now, what are the meaning of these two terms? The meaning of these two terms are exactly what they are written. So we will do these two things one after the other. The diagrams are not that important because no one is going to ask you about the diagram. The important thing that you have to understand is what do you mean by each term and whether you understand the terms or not. So the first thing that we are going to do is deviation without dispersion. So write the heading, deviation without dispersion. Don't get confused because these two terms may confuse you at times. So don't get confused with the two terms. What is going to happen in deviation without dispersion? Yes.
Deviation.
The ray is going to deviate. Yes or no? But
Yes,
it
sir.
will not undergo any dispersion. Now, when I use this term dispersion, what do I mean by this dispersion? When I use this term dispersion, that means the angular dispersion is 0. Do we understand this? Angular
sir.
dispersion means 0, meaning theta, the angle between what? The angle between theta is what? Theta is what?
Angle between red light and violet light.
That has to be 0. Do we understand this?
Yes, sir.
And I will try to show it from a diagram. This is how, again, diagram is not important here. What we have to understand is, you understand the term. This is the diagram that is drawn. What you got to see is, on the left hand side, you have a white light. And on the right hand side, also you get the same white light. That means there is no dispersion. White comes out as white. Yes or no? White
Yes, sir.
light comes out as white. That means deviation is 0. How this deviation has become 0? First of all, it gets deviated by one prism. The other prism is put in the inverted way, and it again creates the opposite dispersion. So the net dispersion becomes 0. The net dispersion theta becomes 0. Do we understand this?
Sir.
Now, how do you find out this net dispersion theta? Simple things, understand them simply. That is the deviation, that is the dispersion by the first prism plus dispersion by the second prism. This is the first prism. it disperses by an angle theta 1. This disperses by an angle theta 2. So this theta 1 plus theta 2 must be equal to 0. Do we understand this?
Yes, sir.
How do I calculate the value of theta 1? We already know the value of theta 1. Can anyone tell me what is the value of theta 1? Remember, the prism angle for this, just note few things down. The prism angle for this prism is A and the refractive index is mu. The prism angle for the other prism is A dash and the refractive index is mu dash. So A and mu are the prism angles and refractive index of the first prism. A dash and mu dash are the refractive index and prism angle of the second prism. Can you tell me what is the value of theta 1? It comes from the previous class that we had done. Yes, Vijay, tell me. Any doubt, beta? Ask me. How do you get the value of theta 1? How do I get the value of theta 1? So theta 1 will be equal to mu for the violet minus mu for the red multiplied by A. Do we understand this?
Yes, sir.
What about theta 2? Theta 2 will be equal to mu dash V minus mu dash R times A dash. Do we understand this?
Sir.
This plus this has to be equal to 0. From there, you can find out the relation between A dash, the prism angle of the second prism, and A, the
Sir,
prism
where
angle.
is theta 1?
Yes, beta?
Where is theta 1, sir?
Theta 1 is the dispersion of the
Theta
first
1 and theta 2.
Theta 1 is the dispersion of the first prism and theta 2 is the dispersion angle of the second prism. We have discussed theta in the previous class, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Angular dispersion. So theta 1 is the angular dispersion of the first prism and theta 2 is the angular dispersion of the second prism. It is not possible to draw everything here because the diagram does not look so pretty. We had seen them separately. Now we are just using their concepts, their formulae. Do we understand this?
Yes, sir.
What is the relation between A1, A dash and A? That is the important point after all this discussion. What is the relation between A dash and A? Can anyone tell me? A dash will be equal to A dash would be equal to
A.
A dash will be equal to.
A, sir.
How did you get A, beta? Look at the value of theta 1. Look at the value of theta 2. What would A dash be equal to? Look at this and look at this. This is equal to 0. From there, you will get the value of A dash. Yes.
Mu V minus mu R divided by mu dash R minus mu V into A equals to
Yes. So instead of saying it that way, we say minus taken outside multiplied by A. A is multiplied by mu V, which is the violet refractive index of violet light for the first prism, minus mu R divided by mu dash V minus mu dash R. This minus sign, what does this minus sign indicate? What does this minus sign indicate? Anyone? We get a minus sign. What does this minus sign indicate?
Opposite direction.
Not opposite direction as such. It tells us that the prism angles are in the opposite direction. That means you look at the first prism, the prism angle is on the top. The second prism, the prism angle is down layer. So these two prism, if one prism is erect, the other prism is in the inverted direction. Do we understand this?
Yes, sir.
Everyone, do we understand
sir.
this?
Yes, sir.
Question based on this directly comes in your exam straight away. I'll give you 2 minutes to note this down. Deviation without dispersion. Again, beta, remember the diagram is not that important. The important thing is you understand what is dispersion and what is deviation. Dispersion means splitting of white light. Deviation means the light which is emerging out is making an angle with the incident light. Here we have zero dispersion and we have deviation. Everyone understands this? Have you noted it down?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Everyone has noted it down?
Yes, sir.
What would be the next thing that we are supposed to do?
Dispersion without deviation.
The next thing is definitely dispersion without deviation. Point number 2. Dispersion without deviation. Now in this, again, what is going to happen is that you are going to have two prism. Again, remember this is not possible with a single prism. I'll give you some points about this. You can note down those points. Remember, whatever we are doing is only possible with a combination of two prism. It is not possible for a single prism to do this. I hope you understand this. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Okay. Now this is again a representative diagram that gives the point. Here on the left hand side you see white light. White light is going, it is getting dispersed. Again it is getting dispersed, but at the end we don't get a white light. We don't get a white light, we get red and violet. Do we see here, bacha? Red and violet.
Yes, sir.
But what we see here is also one thing, that the direction is same as the original light. That means there is no deviation, but there is dispersion. Do we understand this? When I say there is no deviation, we are talking about the deviation of the mean light. Do we understand this? Mean deviation. Do we understand this? So here the deviation delta mean is 0 of the mean light. Do we understand this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let us say that the deviation produced by this one is delta 1. Let us say that the deviation produced by this prism is delta 2. Can anyone tell me what is the formula for delta 1? Whenever I'm talking about deviation, my dear friends, we are always talking about the mean deviation. Do we understand this? Whenever I'm talking about dispersion, I mean angular dispersion. What is the deviation produced by the first prism?
I minus R1.
I minus R1. All of this, whatever we are doing, is for thin prism, my dear friends. What is the deviation? You just seen the formula.
Mu minus 1 of A.
Yes, mu minus 1 of A. Very good. What about the deviation produced by the second one? Mu dash minus 1 times A dash. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And that has to be equal to 0. Why it has to be equal to 0? Because the total deviation, which is delta 1 plus delta 2, it has to be equated to 0. From here, you should be able to tell me again the same thing. And the same thing is the relation between A dash and A. Can you tell me the relation between A dash and A from here? In this case, there is dispersion, but there is no deviation.
Minus A into mu minus 1 divided by mu dash minus 1.
A dash will be again equal to minus A into mu minus 1 divided by mu dash minus 1. Again, bacho, what do you mean by this negative sign that has come here? What do we understand by this negative sign?
Angles are opposite.
Yes, beta.
Prism angles are opposite to each other.
Prism angles are opposite to each other. That means if one prism is erect, the other one has to be inverted. I'll give you 2 minutes to write it. Diagram is just representative to make you understand what is happening.
Done, sir.
Everyone got it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now remember, beta, as I have told you before also, this chapter is more about remembering a lot of things, because the question based on this chapter, whether it is JEE Main or JEE Advanced, they're always straightforward. If you can remember a lot of things, if you remember the main points, you will always be able to solve the question, but it will take some time. And I don't want you to spend time in questions which can be done quickly. Do you understand the concept? I want you to spend only time in those questions which are not straightforward. The questions which are straightforward, you should be able to answer them quickly so that you can save time for the questions which are not that straightforward. And that is why what is asked in this chapter, in this particular topic, is whether they will tell you whether it is dispersion without deviation or deviation without dispersion. You will have to find the prism angle. The second thing that they might ask you is to find out the other thing. For example, dispersion without deviation. So deviation is 0. They will ask you to find out the dispersion. In deviation without dispersion, you know dispersion is 0. They will ask you to find out the deviation. You can always do that. You can solve it in the examination hall, but I don't want you to spend the time in the examination hall. So what I will do is, I've made a tabular form, and that tabular form is right there, which you can use both the things written side by side so that you can compare it. The first thing is dispersion without deviation. Now remember, they will use some technical terms. The technical terms used for this is known as chromatic combination. Chromatic means color. So you have dispersion, that means you have different colors. That is why this is known as chromatic combination. The second one, in which you have deviation without dispersion, you don't have deviation, you don't have color. Therefore, it is known as achromatic combination. Have you understood the terminology? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So, in the first case, you will have dispersion but not deviation. We have already seen this formula. Yes or no? Deviation is 0. Deviation is 0, but there is dispersion. Then they will ask you the net dispersion, and this is the formula that you can use for net dispersion. Use this formula and you can solve any questions very, very quickly. What does omega stand for here?
Dispersion power.
Dispersive power of which prism, my dear friend? The first prism. Do we understand this?
Yes, sir.
What is omega dash? Dispersive power of the second prism. Do we understand this?
Yes, sir.
And this theta is the dispersion produced by the first prism. This is one way of remembering this. The other way is in terms of omega and delta. Omega multiplied by delta. This is the way I remember it. Omega multiplied by delta. Omega is the dispersive power of the first prism. Delta is the deviation of the first prism minus omega dash, the dispersive power of the second prism multiplied by delta dash. If you use these formulae, you should be able to get the answer quicker than the person who is sitting next to you, who is your competitor. Do we understand this? Again, you can solve the entire question. I will show it to you. You will get the same answer, but you will have to spend time in solving them. Do we understand this?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Similarly, yes, beta.
Clear, sir.
Okay. Similarly, for the second case, this is the formula that we have already seen. Then here, dispersion is 0. So, we'll ask you how much is the deviation, my dear friends. This is the formula for the net deviation. If you can remember this formula well, you should be able to solve the question quicker than others. If not, you can still solve it, but it will take some time for you to solve it. So you can write these two formulas and then we can move on and solve some questions. I'll give you 2 minutes to do this.
Done, sir.
So we have done this.
Yes, sir.
Everyone is ready for the first question? Remember, whenever you have questions in this category, they will require some amount of calculations. Remember, don't get scared. Calculations are there and you can't avoid the calculation part in this question. That is the only thing that you have to done. This is the question that has come in JEE Main many times, multiple times. The only thing is the values are somewhat changed in whatever time it has come. If the refractive indices, the plural of index of crown glass, normally when the question comes, it's for crown glass and the flint glass. That is how it is made. For crown glass, for red, yellow, and violet colors are given. For flint glass, red, yellow, and violet are given. What are the dispersive powers for crown and the flint glass, respectively? We'll give you 2 minutes to solve it. Yes, beta. Do we have any answer? Did you get it for any of this? For crown glass, or flint glass? Anyone you got?
Sir, wait for 2 minutes.
Okay. Josna, Shreya, did you get any answer? Anyone? So how do you calculate for the crown glass? Crown glass.
Sir, option A.
Yes, option A is correct. Who gave me this answer?
Sana, sir.
Which one? Who?
Sana, sir.
Sana, well done, beta. It's just about calculation. Now remember, beta. Remember, I understand, and even the person who has made this question understand that the values that are given are very typical. Will take some time for you to calculate them. But if you are smart enough and look at the option, looking at the options, if you are smart enough, you should be able to tell me the answer by only solving one of that omega. Don't have to solve for both omega. Do we understand this? Now, if I solve for omega c and I just put the values, and I'm not very good at putting the values, but I'll try 1.5318 minus 1.514 divided by 1.517 minus 1. Have I put it correctly? Now, if I solve this, I think I will get 0.034. Yes or no? Anyone got this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, once you get this beta, you don't have to solve for the other one. Now, you look at the options. Be smart and look at the options. You look at the option, you have option A, which has this one, and you have option D, which has this one. But look at option A and option D. One of the options is not possible looking at the values that we have. Look at the values that we have for the second prism. One of the options is definitely not possible. Which is the option which is definitely not possible?
C.
C is to already
B, sir.
gone. C to already gone, beta. D is not possible. I will not get one anyhow. Yes or no? Are you getting my point, bacha? Do we understand? Only two options has 0.034. One is option A and the other one is option D. And option D, the other option is 1. You're not going to get 1 anyhow. Because to get 1, the number should look because in the denominator you will have 1.6499 minus 1. That will be 0.6499. Now to get points to get 1 from 0.6499, you should have 0.6499 at the top. You will never get 0.6499 at the top. So therefore this option is definitely not possible. So there is only one possibility, and that is option A. So I've solved this question only by solving for omega C and not for omega of faint glass. In this year JEE Advanced, there was a complete question, match the following question, which was based on all these options. And you don't have to solve all those options. You just have to solve one of them, and then you could get the answer by applying simple common sense. Do we understand this? So remember, if you are smart enough, sometimes looking at the option will help you a lot in understanding what is going to be the answer. Do we get this?
Yes, sir.
In the second question, though, you don't have this liberty because this second question is not having any option. So now you have to solve it and tell me the answer for this one. This is straight away a simple question, and you should be able to tell me the answer quite quickly. When white light is passed through a prism of angle 5, the refractive index for red and blue colors, sometimes instead of violet, they give blue, are 1.641 and 1.659. Calculate the angle of dispersion between them. They're asking you the angle of dispersion between red and the blue colors. I'll give you 2 minutes to solve this. Don't have any option, so you can't tell me A, B, C, D. What happened to the other class? Your camera is off, beta? Is there something wrong with the camera? Why does the camera go off all of a sudden? Is there anyone in the class who can switch on the camera or tell me what's wrong with the camera?
Zero point zero 0.09.
0.09. Well done. Good. Good. So how do you calculate this? You just have to calculate the deviation, the angle of dispersion. Sorry, I said deviation, angle of dispersion, and what is the way of calculating it? How did you get it?
Mu v minus mu r into A.
Well done. You can straight away put the formula mu v minus mu r multiplied by A. Mu violet. It's not violet here, beta. They are asking you the dispersion between blue light. So let us put blue light here. Mu b minus mu r into A. Mu blue is given as 1.659. Mu red is given as 1.614. So 1.659 minus 1.641 multiplied by 5, and that will be the answer. Everyone got this in the class that I can now see? I was not able to see you before. Everyone is there? We understand this, bacha? Okay. Remember, these all questions are all about you remembering simple things and the simplest of the shortcuts. Can I give you the next question? Yes or
sir.
no? Remember, one of those questions that we are doing may actually come in your examination hall, maybe even with the same values also, because there are very few questions, and that is why I'm doing all of them, so that if a question of dispersion deviation comes, it comes from this one. This is the next one, and it just requires you to think what I've already told you in the class. So that is an implication of that that concept. The prism angle of a prism is 10 degrees. The refractive index for red and violet light is, so they have made the question simple. They have not given some big values, 1.51 and 1.52 respectively. Find the dispersive power. I'll give you 2 minutes. This does not require that much of calculation. So I hope you can give me an approximate answer, because the option that you will have will be approximately true. 2 minutes you have. Yes, bacha. Do we have answer for this one? Shay has given me answer 0.02. That is correct. The actual answer that I have is 0.019, but I will give you that 0.02 is as good as it gets. Everyone got this?
0.02.
0.02, yes, that is correct. How are we supposed to do this? Anyone can tell me? So I have to find omega for this. So how do I find it? I will use the formula, right? Mu V, mu violet minus mu red divided by, the problem is mu yellow. Mu yellow is not given. How do I find mu yellow?
Mean of mu v and mu r.
Yes, mu V plus mu R. So this is what I wanted you to understand. It is the mean of mu V plus mu R. So mu V is 1.52, mu R is 1.51. So the mean will be 1.515. That is the only thing. It just makes the calculation a bit more difficult. So let me just put it 1.52 minus 1.51 divided by 1.515 minus 1. So the approximate answer you will get is 0.02. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Anyone understand this? Everyone got this?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Now I have still more questions on dispersive power, but I will just stop them and I'll give you one question of what we are supposed to do. Then I will give you another question on that. And this is the one. It might require some amount of calculation, but don't be scared, because most of the students, as soon as they see this question, they will get scared and they will not do it. But remember, this is one question which can be done straight away if you remember the formula and you do the calculations correctly. So here is the question. It has some values, but I can't help it. The values are going to be there. A combination of two prisms. I told you, one is of flint glass, the other one is of crown glass. Combination of two prism, one of flint. Flint is yellow, crown is blue. Produces, the important thing is dispersion without deviation. The angle of flint glass, which is yellow, is 15. Calculate the angle for the crown glass. That is the first question. And angular dispersion between the red and the violet. That is what you need to calculate. Things are given. Mu for flint glass. Flint is yellow. Omega for flint glass. Omega for crown glass. And mu for crown glass as well. When they have given mu, they have given the mean mu. Do we understand this? Yes or no? So you have 2 minutes to do this. Tell me the answer and stay happy. Anyone got any answer? Your answer may not be exact. I'm just looking at approximate answers. And more importantly, I'm looking at if you understood the concept and can you apply it correctly. First thing first, you have to calculate the angle for the crown glass. Angle for the crown glass. Anyone with that answer? Approximate answer will do, not a problem.
77.
77. How will you get 77, beta? It's a thin prism. Remember, the angle has to be smaller.
7.7.
7.7. I don't think that is the answer. What answer I have is somewhere around 18 point something. Anyone got that?
Yes, sir.
Got it?
Got it, sir.
Well done. That is the first part. Anyone from the other class? So how are you supposed to do this? This is dispersion without deviation. That means delta 1 plus delta 2 has to be 0. I don't have to write this step because I straight away know that I can calculate A dash as minus of A into mean mu minus 1 of the first divided by mu dash, mean mu dash minus 1 for the second. I can just put the values minus 15 mu for the flint glass is 1.65, which is known, minus 1. I hope I'm not making a mistake. Divided by, for the clown glass, it is 1.52 minus.
18.75.
Don't forget negative sign, my dear friend. Did you remember the negative sign?
Yes, sir.
Minus 18.75 degrees. All of you got this? Please raise your hands. Tell me, yes, sir, we got it. No one? Only one? One at the last bench. What about the girls? No girls got it. Front bench also. Now, the last benches are better than the front benches. The girls, all of them got this. Boys, how many boys got this? Okay, so there is hope. There is hope with boys as well, not only with girls. Now, once you get the value of A dash, you are supposed to find out the angular dispersion. That is what I'm asking. Now, if you remember that formula, you can put the formula straight away and get your answer. If you don't remember the formula, my dear friend, then what will happen is you have to find out the dispersion of the first prism, dispersion of the second prism, and add and get your answer. So it is your way, whatever you want to do it. Let me do it in that way. Theta 1, the dispersion of the first prism will be mu v minus mu r multiplied by A. Do we understand this? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
But the problem is, my dear friends, that mu v and mu r are not given. Mu v and mu r are not given. How will I do it? Mu v and mu r are not given. How will I do it? Anyone? Any thought? Mu v and mu r are not given. Definitely that is the case, but omega for this is given. Omega. Do we remember what is omega?
Dispersive power.
What was the formula for that? It is mu v
Mu v
minus
minus
mu
mu
r,
r by mu y minus 1.
mu violet, which is mu minus 1. Yes or no? From here,
Sir.
my dear friends, I can find out the value of mu v minus mu r. Mu v minus mu r will be this multiplied by this. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
From there, I can get the value of theta 1. Similarly, I can get the value of theta 2. The formula will look like this. When I do both of this together, the total dispersion theta, the formula will look like this. I hope I do not make a mistake. Omega into A into mu minus 1 for the first one, plus omega dash into A dash. Remember, A dash is negative. Do you see this? Yes or no?
Sir. Yes,
Don't
sir.
forget that negative sign. That negative sign is important. Plus omega dash into A dash into mu dash minus 1. That is what you need to calculate. Now you know everything that is to be required. Remember here, but this is negative. Don't forget this. So these two quantities, instead of getting added, they will get subtracted. Do we understand this?
Yes, sir.
Anyone understand this?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me the answer, dear? Fast, so that I can give you one more question, beta. You can tell me the answer. Okay, I leave the calculation to you. Let us not waste time in calculation. The answer I have is 0.097 something, 975. So can you do it? Check the answer. Yes or no? Everyone got this? Can I have raise hands from everyone that we understood this? Raise hand, give me more confidence that we are in the same universe, doing the same sort of stuff. Now comes the last question, and in this question, some things have changed, and I hope that my brilliant students would be able to solve this one and tell me the answer. You have exactly 3-4 minutes to solve this question, and the question comes to you right on your screen now. Two thin prisms are combined to form an achromatic combination. Do you understand the meaning of this technical term? What does achromatic combination mean? Huh?
Deviation without dispersion.
Yes, deviation without dispersion. There is no dispersion now. So this is the reverse case of the first one. The first that we did was deviation was 0. There was dispersion. For a first prism, A is 4 degrees. Mu r, mu y. Okay, thank God mu y is given. And mu violet is given. For second prism, mu dash is given. Find the prism angle of the second prism. That is the first question always. And the mean deviation. You have exactly 3 minutes left. That is the time left for the class. And that is the time in which you have to solve this question. 3 minutes.
Zero 0.48.
0.48 is correct. Well done. How could you do it so fast? I could not do it. Just because this question happens to be from the module and you have told me the answer from there. Is that the reason?
No, sir.
No, sir. That is not the reason, na? Pakka, na?
No, sir. Done it before.
You've done it before.
Yes, sir.
But I have just covered the topic now. How you have done this before? When? When did you do it?
From the modules.
Yeah, I told you, na, it's from the module. That is why you have told me the answers. But you have done this before, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All of you have done this before? Then that's a good thing that you are doing things on the module. That's a very positive sign. That's a very positive sign. Then I see more problems in the module. I think that there are 2 or 3 more problems in the module that you can try. Can you try them for me? Or have you done this before also?
Done it, sir.
Done it. So how are you supposed to do this? Achromatic combination, that means theta1 plus theta2 has to be equal to 0. I don't have to do this because straight away I can write the value of a dash. The value of a dash will be minus of a into mu v minus mu r divided by mu dash v minus mu dash r. What is the answer that you are getting from here?
1.4.
Minus 1.4. Please remember this better. Remember the significance of this minus sign, which is minus 1.4. Now they are asking you to find out the total deviation. Total deviation will be delta 1 plus delta 2. So you can straight away write it as mu, remember yellow, minus 1 times a plus mu yellow dash minus 1 times a dash. You can put their values, get the answer, and stay happy. What is the answer coming here? I think it is coming as plus 0.48. Yes or no? So that is how you can solve any question that comes. Remember, whenever someone sees a question which has so many values, they get terrified. If you don't do small stupid mistakes, this question, if it ever comes, and I hope that it comes, you should be able to solve it. Everyone got this? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Well, then that brings us to an end for this
Sir,
class and end for refraction
Sir, once
at
share the
plane
screen.
surfaces. Want me to share the screen?
Yes,
And
sir.
refraction at plane surfaces. In the next class, what we'll do is, the next class
Sir.
that will be on Monday, we will start with refraction at curved surfaces. Yes.
Sir, in the first formula, it's not mu dash v.
What?
Sir, it's mu y.
Sorry. What's wrong, beta? Here in this formula, it has to be mu dash v minus mu dash r. Dispersion is 0, na beta?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt?
No, sir.
Pakka?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in the
Clear.
next class, we will start with refraction at curved surfaces. That is the major part of this chapter. We'll try to wind it up as soon as possible. So see you in the next class. Take care. Have a good day. And if you have any doubt, please feel free to ask me.
Excuse me, sir.